October 24th, the night Bailey Reynolds was kidnapped?
Yeah, I was. I got there around 6 o'clock, like usual. Bailey was at soccer practice, and I expected him to get back around 8:30. I fed Kayla and Spencer, we watched a little TV, and then I put them to bed around 8 o'clock, their usual bedtime.
Did Bailey then arrive home around 8:30?
Well, after I put Kayla and Spencer to bed, I went downstairs to watch a little Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I fell asleep. But Bailey shook me awake around 8:30 to 9.
When did you notice anything was off?
Around 11, I went upstairs to go check on Bailey and the children, and I was so surprised to find that Bailey was not in his bedroom.
What did you then see in his room?
I saw bed sheets were strewn all over the floor. A lamp and a few objects from his desk had been knocked down onto the floor. They looked like there had been a crazy struggle. All I could think about was the safety of Kayla and Spencer. What if the kidnapper was still in the house?
What did you then do to ensure the safety of Kayla and Spencer?
I put Kayla and Spencer into a closet with me. I shut the door. I called 911. And thank God I had my cell phone on me. And thank God the police came quickly.
Were you questioned by Detective Devin Walsh?
Yeah, the night of the crime I was fully questioned until 4 o'clock in the morning. And then a few days after the crime, I was questioned again by Detective Walsh for 4 more hours.
Why were you then again questioned by Detective Devin Walsh?
On October 26th, I went to the Hampton Hotel to see my coworker and pal, Mikey, when out of nowhere, I saw Lauren Perry standing outside of room 312.
Are you saying you saw the defendant, Lauren Perry, outside of room 312, the same room Bailey Reynolds was later found in?
Yeah, I had no idea at the time, but thank God I saw it, because the idea of Bailey spending one more night tied to a
Leading
pole
question.
terrified me.
How was the question leading?
Well, first of all, if it ended with correct, it suggested the answer that counsel will wander from their witness. By definition, is a leading question.
The witness just said, is an answer to the question before, that she saw Lauren Perry in front of room 312. I was just merely clarifying that that was what the witness said.
Yet, that was an unnecessary clarification that suggested that you wanted the witness to say a specific thing again, for emphasis, to the jury.
You know what? I think that's kind of a good point. Counsel, can you rephrase?
Was Lauren Perry outside of room 312?
Yeah.
Do you have a key to the Reynolds home?
Yes.
Did you find having a key a big responsibility?
Yes.
Do you have a car?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anyway. So, defense, cross-examination.
Ms. Reynolds, can you please answer with a yes or no, unless I direct you to answer otherwise?
I can try to.
Did you hear Mr. Reynolds testify earlier today that the Perry suspected you had been stealing money from them?
Yes.
Did you ever pocket money you not earned from a client?
Objection. This testimony is irrelevant to the case. It's being used to establish the character of Peyton Bralow. As Peyton Bralow is not on trial, her character is irrelevant.
I believe the character of the person the Reynolds decided to put responsible for Bailey on the night of his kidnapping is completely relevant to the facts of this case.
Since I think what you are after is not character but credibility,
Yes.
I'll allow.
Can you restate the question?
I can ask you the question again. Did you ever pocket money you had not earned from a client?
I wouldn't consider it pocketing it. The Reynolds would have been fine with $10.
I'm not asking you to extrapolate on what you think the Reynolds would have been fine with. Did you ever pocket money from a client?
On your terms, yes.
Now, between the time that Bailey came home from his soccer practice and his kidnapping, you had unfettered access to him, correct?
Well, I am their babysitter, so yes.
And no one checked in on you while you were babysitting.
I'm the babysitter, so yes.
And you could have entered his bedroom at any time.
I'm the babysitter, so yes.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Bralow, when you entered Bailey's room, did you pick up the ransom note?
I must have touched it at the moment, yeah.
And you failed to mention this in your affidavit.
I forgot to mention it.
And isn't it true that in your affidavit you were sworn to tell the story as you remember it and all the facts relevant to this case?
As I remember it, and I forgot to mention it.
But wouldn't you think that this fact might be relevant that you may have touched the ransom note?
With everything going on, I do not think that I touched the ransom note. that important.
But you did not decide to include it in the affidavit that it is possible you may
I
have
forgot
touched the
to
ransom
mention
note. And this is supposed to be a true statement of the facts of the case as you saw them. Is that a yes or a no?
Can you say the question again?
The affidavit is supposed to be a statement of the facts of the case as you see them and all the facts relevant to this case. Now, I would extrapolate that whether or not you touched the ransom note that had your fingerprints on them is important to the facts of this case.
As I remember it. That's what it's supposed to be, as I remember it.
Well, you have a juvenile record, correct?
Yes.
And this is due to your involvement with drugs, correct?
Yes.
And as a result of your actions, you've been ordered to pay a large sum of money to the state of New York, correct?
No.
You've not been ordered to pay a large sum of money to the state?
Objection.
Not a large sum of money.
In pretrial conference, it was stated that Peyton Bralow's juvenile record is admissible to show her credibility. The fact that she has to pay a large sum of money to the state of New York does not affect her credibility.
It was admissible under the terms that we established her finances at the time based on her juvenile record, and I believe this is completely within reason asking about a large sum of money she might owe due to her juvenile
You're
record.
no.
Okay. So, I did say that it is meaningful for establishing credibility.
I believe you also used the word financial need.
And your argument is admissible, why? Why should I allow you to sort of investigate her financial situation?
Her financial situation, if we're talking about motive, needs, and opportunity in conjunction with this case, her financial situation could be used as a prime motive for why she would have kidnapped Bailey Reynolds.
Oh, that's not what I agreed to allow. It was credibility, wasn't it?
It was credibility. It was credibility underneath how responsible she is in terms of her financing.
No, it was
No.
credibility underneath how responsible she is. There was nothing stated about finances in pretrial
I
conference.
would have to agree with the state on this one, counsel, so I'm gonna ask you to move on.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, Bailey's bedroom is located directly above the media room in the Reynolds house, correct?
Yes.
And you spent a good portion of the night of the 24th asleep in that media room, correct?
No.
You were not asleep in the media room on the night of the 24th.
I did not spend a good portion of the night asleep.
You spent a portion of the night asleep.
I dozed off a couple times, yes.
You were asleep when Bailey Reynolds arrived home,
You shook me awake.
so you were asleep. And according to your statement, the state of Bailey's room made it seem like there had been a crazy struggle, correct?
Yes.
So presumably the struggle took place directly above you, correct?
Well, I'm in the media room.
Is Bailey's Reynolds' bedroom not located on the second floor directly above the media room?
It is, yes.
And you were located in the media room for the duration of the night?
Yes.
So presumably the struggle took place directly above you.
Yes.
And you said you heard a noise upstairs after Bailey had arrived home and assumed it was just Bailey readying himself for bed, correct?
It was a faint noise. Would you have thought it was?
I'm not
a
asking
crazy
you to ask
struggle?
questions. I'm saying you swore in your affidavit that you said that you thought it was Bailey readying himself for bed. Did you not?
Yes.
So you were able to hear a noise from all the way downstairs that you took for an orderly 12-year-old in his room.
Can you repeat the question?
You were able to hear a noise from downstairs that you took to be Bailey Reynolds readying himself for bed in his room.
Counsel's asking a leading question. Objection. Counsel's asking a leading question.
Okay, so that's an objection.
Okay.
And,
I'm simply trying to verify exactly what I want her to answer.
let's check.
And this is
Leading questions, okay?
Sorry.
this is
Cross.
cross.
She's really repeating for us.
Make it-
Thank you. So you were able to hear a noise all the way from downstairs that you took for an orderly 12-year-old in his room.
Yes.
And yet you did not hear the sounds of the crazy struggle that presumably took place in Bailey's room.
Yes. It's the media room.
And the
You
media,
can't hear much from the media room.
how would we know that? How would we as the court understand that?
Objection, Your Honor. Our client is, she works in the Reynolds.
She is not capable of answering that question, but she is capable of answering the previous one.
Yes.
The previous one was about here.
The faint noise that she heard was
Could
the
you-
question?
I asked if you did not hear the sounds of the crazy struggle that presumably took place in Bailey's room.
That to me seems like something you can answer.
I heard a faint noise.
Are you implying that that faint noise was the sound of the crazy struggle?
It might have been, but that's not what I would have expected. Would
So-
you have expected that?
I'm not asking you to ask me questions. The crazy struggle that you characterized in your testimony is the same thing that you heard as the faint noise of Bailey running himself for bed.
Can you repeat the question, please?
You did not hear the sounds of the crazy struggle that presumably took place in Bailey's room. Yes or no?
I don't know.
You do not know if you heard the sounds of the crazy
I
struggle.
heard a faint noise.
You heard a faint noise, and I'm asking if you heard a separate noise as the sound of the crazy struggle. If you believe them to be the same noise, then I have other questions for you. But do you believe that you did not hear the sounds of the crazy struggle?
Looking back, it might have been.
But you did not include that in your affidavit. It's a simple yes or no question.
No.
So you change your answer from yes to no.
Excuse me, objection, Your Honor. The question that she just answered was whether or not she included that information in her affidavit, and she said no.
I was under the impression that she had answered the question that she had not heard the sounds of the crazy struggle in
You
Bailey's
posed an
room.
additional question, and that was what the client was
So then I
answering.
will ask this question again. Did you hear the sounds of the crazy struggle in Bailey's room?
I heard a faint noise, which might have been a crazy struggle.
So then you are saying that it is quite possible that the sounds that you heard of Bailey running himself for bed could have been the sounds of the crazy struggle you characterized in your affidavit.
It could have been, yes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
I bet there's some redirect.
Yes, Your Honor.
I bet there's some redirect. Okay, let's see.
Miss Reynolds, do you have a car? I'm sorry, Miss Bralow, do you have a car? I'm so sorry, Your Honor. Do you have a car?
Objection, lack of proper foundation. Nowhere in the cross or in the direct was a car mentioned at all. Therefore, you cannot bring it up and redirect.
Yes, it was mentioned in direct. I can say that I asked the question, do you have a car? And Miss Bralow responded with no. So yes, it is allowed to be brought up in redirect.
Since we don't actually have the official court record, other than one we have to dig around in all his computer for, I think what we'll do is we'll allow this question. And I understand that if we did have court record, you might win big on that. But for right now, if we don't have one, and I don't remember, we'll allow it.
Miss Bralow, do you have a car?
No. Believe me, I wish I had a car.
How long have you been babysitting for the Reynolds family?
I've been babysitting for the Reynolds family for roughly a year. The night of the crime, I was actually watching TV with Spencer and
Objection,
Kira.
non-responsive answer.
I agree. Please ask your question again.
How long have you been babysitting for the Reynolds
Roughly a
family?
year.
Thank you. How would you describe your job with the Reynolds family?
My job with the Reynolds family is honestly a dream job. I need Bailey to be.
Objection, irrelevant evidence. Whether or not the witness needs Bailey Reynolds or whether or not her job is a dream job is not relevant at all to the facts of the
Ms.
case.
Brindley, you do need to actually answer the question that's asked, so I'm going to direct you to do that. Thank you.
How would you describe your job with the Reynolds family?
A good job.
Yep. Miss Bralow, are you desperate for money?
No, I'm not desperate for money. I do not have a deadline from this, for this
Objection.
that I have.
Assuming facts not in evidence.
I agree.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Any recross?
Excuse me, this. Oh, confused.
Short, counsel.
Yes. It is true that you do not have a car, correct?
Yes,
But you told the Reynolds that you were saving up money for the car.
yes.
And you've stated previously that all $15 that you were earning from the Reynolds family is going directly to that car, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Nowhere did the witness say this at all in her affidavit or today during direct.
Well, sustaining, just ask lay a foundation question, then ask the same question.
You work 2 jobs, correct?
Yes,
And you also go to community college, correct?
yes.
So you're supporting yourself on the 2 jobs that you work, correct?
Supporting what, ma'am?
Objection, counsel is assuming facts not in evidence. We don't know that Peyton Bralow is supporting herself and paying for her own tuition at community college.
Well, I think she can answer this question. I'm not sure that we have I'm not sure that we have a problem with proof.